Hello and welcome back to the second part of the study Lost Spring. So in the first part, the life of Sahib-e-Alam is described. In second part, the life of Mukesh is described. The first one is Sahib-e-Alam, whom the writer meets and observes his activities or his life. Another person that the writer meets is Mukesh. Mukesh, he wishes to be his own master and he wants to be a motor mechanic, and he lives in Firozabad. And he has a dream to be a motor mechanic, and he wants to be his own master. And when the writer meets or asks Mukesh, he says that I want to be a motor mechanic and I will learn to drive a car. When the writer asks him that, do you know anything about car? He replies that I will learn to drive a car. And his dream seems like an illusion in the dust of a street that fills his town Firozabad. Though he has desire, Mukesh has desire to be a motor mechanic, but his dream seems illusion. From the dust of glass in Firozabad. Because every family living in Firozabad is engaged in making glass bangles. Actually, Firozabad is a center for India's glass blowing industry. In Firozabad, there are many industries who makes glass bangles, and many of the families have spent their generations. Many of the families living in Firozabad have spent their generation working for it. Means many generations of families, they have worked only for glass bangle making. And Mukesh family is one of them. In his family too, his father has devoted his full life in glass making industry. None of them know it is legal for children like him to work in the glass furnace with temperature in dingy cells without air and light. Actually, the whole members of the families living in Firozabad, including children, they also work for glass bangle making. And people are unaware of the legal action that involving children to make glass bangle is illegal. Once writer and Mukesh go to the house of Mukesh, and the wall of his house was crumbling, the doors were ugly, and there was no window in his house, and the house was fully crowded by family members and animals also in the house. And it seems that animals and human beings are coexisting in the house, means they are living together. When the writer enters in the house of Mukesh, she finds a frail young woman cooking the evening meal. Her eyes were filled with a smoke because she was cooking with wood or leaves or on a stove made of mud, and The lady is Mukesh's elder brother's wife, means sister-in-law of Mukesh. Inside Mukesh's house, the author meets his family, including his grandmother, who views their poverty as karam, and the second person that the writer meets in the house is the grandmother of Mukesh. And once she had also involved in bangle making, and she believes that getting born in Firozabad or being married in Firozabad and working for bangle making is a karam, is the final destination or destiny. Everyone has to do this because there is no other opportunities. Actually, they are trapped in vicious circle. Even though they make glass bangles, but they couldn't feed themselves well. They cannot feed their family well. They do not get the proper income from the job because the process, the circle of making bangles and selling involves middlemen. There are many brokers and money lenders, sahukars, even the police, bureaucrats and politicians. No one takes care of their trapping status. Due to this person or due to these conditions, they are not getting proper income from their labor. And she believes, the grandmother of Mukesh believes that it's karam, it's our karma, and why he says that? Because she had seen her husband go blind with the dust of glass bangles, and she believes that this is our destiny, this is our karma, that everyone who works for glass bangles, once they have to go blind due to the dust of glass, and that is the destiny. In the dark hutment next to the flickering oil lamps sit boys and girls with their father and mother, welding pieces colored glass into the circle of bangles. And the thing that the poet observes in Firozabad is that she observes boys and girls sitting with their parents, and they were welding the glass bangles, colorful glass bangles. Even the light was not properly, even the room is not properly lit. There is no proper window for air circulation. Though they are surviving and they are working for glass making, it seems that their eyes are more adjusted to the dark than the light outside, because the practice or the working status, the fast working process reflects that how much are they habitual with the work and the light. That is why most of the people end up losing their eyesight before their adulthood who works for bangle making in Firozabad. Actually, if we talk about the meaning of bangles, bangles symbolize an Indian woman's suhag, means a woman who is married, she must wear bangles if her husband is alive. And the poet thinks about the girls who are making the glass bangles. One day the girl will also become bright like the old woman, and who will still have, and like the old woman, that means that like the grandmother of Mukesh, who still has bangle on her wrist, but she doesn't have light in her eyes. Means the writer starts thinking about the small girls who are working with their parents for glass bangle making, and she thinks that even the bangle or symbolic meaning of bangle or cultural meaning of bangle is good. It represents their marital status or swag, and a girl gets it in marriage, and one day the small girls will also become a bride like the grandmother of Mukesh. Actually, the Mukesh grandmother had gone blind. She doesn't had light in her eyes, though she was wearing bangles in her wrist. So here the writer reflects the painful condition of children working for glass making. The writers and the grandmother of Mukesh says, एक वक्त का एक शेर भर खाना भी नहीं खाया, एक शेर भर खाना भी नहीं खाया. It means she couldn't get, or she didn't eat the full of a meal in her life. And her husband, means grandfather of Mukesh, he says, I know nothing except bangles. Because the grandfather of Mukesh had worked only for bangle making throughout his life, and he said, I know nothing except bangles. All I have done is my house. Sorry, here is mistyping. All I have done is a house for the family to live in. Means throughout his life he has only done one thing, that he had made a house or a home where his family lives in. So this condition reflects he has achieved what many people felt in their lifetime. Though the grandfather and grandmother of Mukesh doesn't have light in their eyes, but they have achieved something that many people couldn't achieve in their lifetime. That is a house. Though they have a roof over their heads. The writer asks, and few moments later, the writer asks the young men of the society to organize themselves in a cooperative and to start and to do their business in a standard format or with standardization from which they can get good income, because there will be no middleman to take the benefit from their labor, and there won't be any middleman who has trapped their fathers and forefathers. And the young men say, even if we will be organized, the police will arrest us, beat us, and drag us to jail. So it is impossible for us to be organized like into a cooperative and continue our work. If we go against the middleman, against the system, in which they are trapped. That is the matter of dare. Listening to the replies of young men, the writer comes to know the family are caught in a web of poverty, burdened by the stigma of caste. Then the writer realizes that the families living in Firozabad, they are caught in web of poverty. And it is due to the stigma of their caste that they live in Firozabad and they work for glass making. And the reason is that their parents or grandparents were trapped. The other victorious circle of sahukars, middlemen, policemen, bureaucrats, and politicians. And the vicious circle of sahukar, middlemen, policemen, bureaucrats, and the politician, they have also played a great role to trap them. No one takes, even the police, even the bureaucrats, even the politician, no one cares about their status or their condition. All these sahukars, middlemen, policemen, bureaucrats, and politicians, they have imposed the baggage of bangle making on the child that he cannot put down. That is a real misery of the Firozabad, children of Firozabad. But Mukesh is the only person that the writer finds. He wants to be a motor mechanic, he repeats again. And he says that he will go to the garage and learn. Even the garage is far from his house. And he accepts that, he says that I will reach there by walking. I will go by walking. Means he has extreme dream of being motor mechanic. Even he has to cross miles to reach to the garage. He repeats to the writer. Then the writer asks Mukesh, do you also dream of flying a plane? And Mukesh replies, no. Actually, the boy Mukesh doesn't have a big dream like flying a plane. He just wants to be a motor mechanic. And he doesn't regret that he has a small dream. He is content to dreams of car that he sees hurtling down the streets of his town. Means Mukesh has the only one dream, that is to be a motor mechanic and go out of the trapping net of bangle making industry. So Mukesh dreams something different from the other children of the Firozabad, and he wants to be his own master. He doesn't want to be trapped like his parents and his grandparents, and even like his siblings. So this is the major plot of second part. Now let's come to the conclusion. So this lesson, this text or the story, Lost Spring by Anish Chand, it highlights the harsh reality of child labor in India, poverty and exploitation in India, how children are used or forced to work, and the major reason behind child labor is poverty. The first story on Sahibe Alam, a rag picker from Bangladesh living in Simapuri, who searches garbage dumps for survival instead of going to school. The first story is about Sahibe Alam, a rag picker. living in Simapuri, and he searches gold in or money in garbage instead of going to school. And Saheb dreams for better life, but the financial condition and the identity of Saheb Alami and his family forces him to work at a tea stall later, where he loses his freedom and carefree childhood. This is a story about Saheb Alam. And the second story is about Mukesh, a boy from Firozabad, a famous town for its glass bangle industry, where families have worked for generations in dangerous conditions. And this is also, and it is the similar condition of Simapuri, because the people living in Firozabad also are also suffering with poverty. Children are forced to work. Children are not getting opportunity to reach or to go to school or get educated. And the children suffer from poor living condition, unhealthy workplace, eye damage, and endless poverty caused by the middlemen and the caste tradition of Firozabad. Unlike others in Firozabad, Mukesh dreams of becoming a motor mechanic, and he wants to break free from the family profession, and he wants to be free. He wants to choose his own profession. He doesn't want to be involved, or he doesn't want to be a party of his family. Doesn't want to be part of his family profession, and he has hope and determination. So this chapter criticizes society and political system for ignoring the suffering of poor children and denying them education and opportunity. So this story is a satire on the political system and society who ignores the suffering of poor children and denying them education and opportunity. So through emotional storytelling of Saheb Alam and Mukesh and use of literary devices, the author shows how poverty steals childhood dreams and traps children from the cycle of hardship. So now I hope the video makes sense and the plot or the major part of this story is crystal clear to you. Thank you for your patience. Have a good time ahead. Please like the video and subscribe the channel.